is up, everybody? How's everybody doing? What's
Hey
going on?
everyone.
Hey, Brad. Hey, Charlotte. Hey, Dave. Hey, Kim. Karen. Thanks for being here, everybody. We are super excited about this episode that we're doing today because if you were watching on Friday, the hearing in the YNW MELLY trial that's coming up, the hearing that went on is, what would you call it, babe?
Banana sandwiches.
Banana sandwiches, folks. It was wild, wild stuff. And we were trying to keep up with everything that was going on. And it was difficult because there was a lot. All of a sudden, the judge grew a set. He's yelling at people. The prosecutor's not there. He's telling them to come down there. Defense is saying that the judge is posture. It seems like he's not serious. What else, babe? I mean,
Body language was bad because he had his arms crossed. Um, and I mean, they want the prosecutor off the case. They're going to call her as a witness.
the
There's like
whole,
so
the
many.
whole, the whole office. They want him out of there. I
Yes.
mean, we got someone from the office who's testifying that she agrees that some shady stuff went down. So, in order to break this down for us, we are super excited to have Afi Patterson. If you don't know, she's an attorney. She graduated from Louisiana State University. Another person from Louisiana. We were just talking about this, Judge Patterson. I'm sorry, Judge Boyd, Jody Plauché. We got some folks from Who Dat Nation, I think. So she, throughout her practice, she gained extensive experience in criminal defense and entertainment law. Currently, she serves as a production attorney for the Emmy Award-winning series Divorce Court and provides legal counsel to Dish Nation. But folks, that's not all. In addition, she owns Blue Door Organics, a skincare brand that produces premium organic products and services a growing wellness community, folks. So it sounds like we have a creator who crushes. Maybe we'll have to look out for that. So without further ado, folks, here she is, Afi Patterson. Hey, how,
Hello, hello.
how are
Thank you for
you?
having me, guys. I'm
Thank,
Thanks for coming on
fantastic.
with us.
thanks so much for being here. If you want, maybe give. We were talking about. I was going over your bio, but there's more to it. So why don't you tell folks a little bit more what your experience is?
Yeah, well, I did LSU undergrad, go Tigers. I graduated from Southern University Law Center, and I did 2 years in Baton Rouge. I'm saying it like I did time, but after I graduated, I did 2 years in Baton Rouge at a law firm. I did a little bit of entertainment law, and then I moved to Jersey. I did international criminal law for a little bit out there, and a little bit of domestic law. And it's so interesting that one of my a major trial that I did out there, I was second chair, involved a blood gang member, a high-ranking blood gang member, and a murder. And it was I learned so much. So that's why I was really interested and invested in this supposed expert testimony when the masked man was testifying about bloods, the language, initiation. Okay, I'm just going on and on.
No, keep.
More
I
about
mean,
me.
we
No,
that was
that
quite a
that
day when
was
all
a
this.
yes.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was pretty interesting. The first trial ended in a hung jury, similar to this one, and then that's why I have so much knowledge about when people are retried and how it impacts the defense, how it impacts the victims and their families. So, but yeah, and then back in Baton Rouge. I was a public defender and then handled private matters as well. Just, everything, murders, rapes, robberies, misdemeanor pleas, handled, just ran the gamut.
And by the
And
way,
then now
folks, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just saying I met a man and ended up in Los Angeles. So,
Well, I was just going to say, your Twitter and YouTube is Black Letter Law.
mhm.
The links are coming. The Black Letter on Twitter,
Yeah,
and the Black Letter Law on YouTube. But both links are in there, so you don't even have to type them. Just click on them, follow them.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. We almost got to 1,000. She's almost at 1,000, folks. So let's get her to
You
1,000.
guys are so loyal. Thank you. I love that. Thank you so much.
Of course, you got. We call our little group J Bow Nation because we learned that bows,
Yeah.
like a bow in the South, is a friend. Hey, Bo. So like you're our friend now, and you're in J Bow Nation. We're gonna have your
Love
back
it.
going forward. So let's get to this hearing. First of all,
Mhm.
have you ever seen anything like that hearing? Could you believe that Prosecutor Bradley was not there initially to start that hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of thought that I think that she was getting advice. So throughout this whole thing, like she's probably had to be just leaning on her superiors and getting advice. So yeah, I could imagine that she wasn't there. I think that she should have been there, but she was right outside. I also think it's interesting that the judge said he was the one who called the hearing. He saw all of these motions flying in back and forth, and he said that he is the one on his own set that motion for Friday to kind of settle everything. But yeah.
And did you notice a difference in his demeanor from when we watched the trial, the first trial? It just seemed like to us. I mean, I'm a layperson, obviously, but like he wouldn't make a decision. He would when he would be like, all right, let's hear from the prosecutor again. Let's hear, and he would ask them like 3 times to go over it again, and then he would be like, all right, I reserve it. It seemed like to us, at least to me, that like all of a sudden he started being much more firm. Did you notice that at all, or is that just?
Yeah, but I think he's going to continue to be consistent when he hears during the trial. I think he's going to consistently say, "Hey, what?" I don't know if I'm pause for a second, it froze up. But I think he's going to consistently say, "Hey, the person who's objecting, give me your position. You know, the person who's promoting something, give me your position." I don't think that's going to change. I think that he has been put in a tight spot. You know. Oh, brother, where art thou reference. He's in a tight spot. So he is frustrated by that because they're asking him to dismiss, you know, the entire state's attorney's office. You know, they're talking about corruption. Like this is a very, I guess, heavy, hot political situation that he's been put in the center of. And I think that's frustrating for him, and he should be frustrated.
Go ahead, babe. You have a question?
So if they have the judge exclude the entire prosecution office, who would prosecute the case? Do they call in a federal person, a special prosecutor?
So it's usually it depends based on the state, right? Usually it can go to the attorney general. You can appoint a special prosecutor, or it can go to an administrative agency. It just depends on the state. I reached out to a friend who does LWOP cases in Baton Rouge. That's life without parole. And she said that if something like that happened, she believes it would go to the attorney general's office in our state.
So for folks, I'm gonna try to break this down, and then you give us like the real deal. And by the way, make sure you're following on Twitter because you broke down the depositions. Now I'm someone who came from I worked at an insurance company, like bodily injury cases, and I would get deposition summaries from folks, and they weren't great. Yours was so good, so please make sure you're following on Twitter. Like you broke it down. I had cases where like it was either they put nothing or they put way too much. You put like the perfect amount to kind of explain what's going on. And correct me if I'm wrong. This is kind of the crux of what's going on here and why these motions were made. They had not a deposition. They met the prosecution with a Detective Moretti. They brought in a witness, and they were trying to get information from the witness regarding witness tampering, right? And in that, it wasn't a hearing. What I don't know what I want to call that.
Just like a room,
like a meeting. The detective all of a sudden gets a warrant from within his jurisdiction, grabs a phone from the witness forcefully, and then says to another officer who wasn't in there, like you were there or something. Like, you know, he lies about something that happened in that meeting, and then there's another person in there who was from the internal affairs or who was an attorney in there who's like, wait a second, this is a problem what just happened here, and everyone in the state needs to know about this. And, you know, Brady material, we need to get this over to the defense. The defense has a right to know about what went down in this meeting. And then after this person did that in that meeting from the state's office, the state they had some meetings, but they never disclosed anything to the defense. So then the defense has to depose this person to be like, what happened in this meeting? And then the detective's like, I'm kind of joking. I was joking. It wasn't real. And now there's this hearing because everyone involved, all the way to the top, from what the defense is saying, is not releasing this information that should have been released. and they can't be handling this case going forward. I know that's a very simple explanation. That's why we have you here. But like, is that like? Could you kind of break down, what happened and why these motions were filed?
Yeah, that's a great explanation. To add like a little bit more color, so you have Detective Moretti, and you have Boutros. I don't Michelle Boutros, maybe. I
I
think
think
that's her
Michelle.
name.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they're in a small room. Okay. Boutros, she's a 20-year veteran. I think she's working in the public corruption unit now. And she was investigating, I believe, Jamie King, that's Melly's mom. So Miss King was there with her attorney. They were sitting on one side of the room. And Boutros and Moretti were sitting on the other side of the room. It's a small room. So you know who's in there, right? There's no question. Then there was a sheriff's deputy, Hendricks. He was there when the questioning first started. After Moretti started the questioning, Hendricks left. Boutros was aware that Moretti had the search warrant for King's phone, Jamie King's phone, but she didn't know that he was going to serve it. And I think in her deposition she said she had no idea he was going to serve it. He didn't run it by her. But the first thing that we learn as attorneys, if you're involved in a situation, you don't want to become a witness in the situation because, as you see, it becomes a conflict. And she said that, she didn't want to become a witness because, she is where she is today. So Moretti basically served Jamie King with the warrant. And there was some type of tussle because Jamie King, according to her, she was looking to get her employer's number because she had to go to work later that day. And Moretti was saying, oh, she's trying to turn her phone off. She's trying to turn her phone off. And there was like some sort of scuffle. But when all of this happened, again, Hendricks was out of the room. And after everything happened, and I guess they went outside, Gorell, who was taking Hendricks' place, he spoke with Moretti, and Moretti realized that he didn't have a sheriff's officer in the room when he was serving this warrant. So I guess he was assuming that he didn't have jurisdiction and the authority to serve the warrant. So when he saw Gorell, he was like, paraphrasing, are you going to say that you were in the room with me when this happened? And Gorell supposedly said, I can be if you need me to be. When Boutros heard that, she went straight to whoever her superior is. I think it's Killeran. And she reported what happened. And then that's when she was like, I'm never going to work with him again.
So
did that make sense?
Yeah, no,
Yes.
exactly. And she realizes in that, first of all, she kind of got bum rushed where she's like, I didn't want to be in here. And all of a sudden you're doing this. So I'm sure she's already pissed that like he did that. Because like you said, now she's a witness in this trial. She just had to testify, just like the prosecutor. But so she's already upset about that. And then he does that. And then she's like, all right, everyone needs to know about it, right? Like this needs to be reported. This is not, this is bad business. Like you can't do this. And correct me if I'm wrong. So then the attorney for King, they file something for excessive force, nothing to do with kind of the shady dealings that went on there, right? So then there's so many folks here, like where it gets a little confused. But then the defense attorney for Melly is then filing the motion for Brady material, right? Because they are, and I mean, how could this person from the state is essentially agreeing this should have been disclosed and it never was, right? So how does the judge, when this person, and then Christine Bradley is kind of like obviously not admitting to it, but like, it's pretty bad, right? Like, how could the judge ignore what's going on here?
I think I thought that there would be a way that they could possibly explain it away, but it's the fact that so many people were involved in the discussion of whether or not they should turn over what Boutros reported. And my position is if you've got to ask everybody, if you have to have all of these conferences on whether or not it's Brady material, whether it's exculpatory, then turn it over. I was also very surprised when the judge said, this is material. This is serious. This is material. It should be without question. So I think it's just, it's not, it doesn't look fantastic for Christine Bradley. Also, I think there's the whole timeline of when she disclosed what Moretti said. And I think that was like on September 23rd, she did a notice. And then after that, Killeran did his own notice. And she had to come behind him and say, oh, a couple of days later that I misspoke. This is actually what was said and I misspoke or misstated something. So I just don't think that looks fantastic for her or the prosecution.
Go ahead, babe. I feel like you had something to say.
And she was admonished in the beginning of the first trial
Mhm.
for similar. I mean, it wasn't Bradley, but she just wasn't turning things over to the defense in a timely manner. The judge admonished her. So I was shocked to see her in the same position again after that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how much this happens with it's really, you've got a microscope on this trial, but you've got to picture small towns. You've got trials that aren't televised. You've got small towns where you may only have, just a few attorneys, literally, and you have everybody is related to each other. You know, in one of my, oh my God, I did. When I clerked when I was in law school, we traveled to all of these small towns in the South, and you would find that like the superintendent, the judges, the tax assessors, the prosecutor, kind of like Murdoch, you have one
Mhm.
family, they know everything, they're embedded in the political system or the administrative system of the town. So there a lot of this goes on. Like I said, I think I tweeted, I was in the middle of a murder trial, and I think the state had rested and we were at a lunch break, and the prosecutor gave me Brady material during the lunch break. And they used a particular software where I couldn't even open it. I couldn't even open the DVD to see what was on it until like I had to chase somebody down to and watch it at my lunch break in the middle of trial.
How is that fair? That's so ridiculous.
You know, fair is relative, right?
True. Um, so now, after all this hearing, by the way, and then also the defense is like, there's a question of whether Bradley's going to testify as a witness. Like, oh, don't be confused. We're calling her as a witness. If this trial goes forward and they're still handling this, we're calling her as a witness. What do you think the ramification? I can't even imagine if you're a juror. I mean, not to mention the circus that the first trial was with. What you were talking about the detective who had to wear a mask and he didn't have to wear a mask. I mean, it was like quite a circus. How is it going to be if she stays on and she has to testify in front of the jury? How are they even going to understand what's going? Like, I feel like there's just I can't even just imagine how that would go.
I can't see it happening. I don't know. The judge said, okay, you're going to call her. You're going to call her after the state settles their case in chief. And okay, so I'm listening to that. Is he leaning toward maybe letting her testify? And then I remember the defense attorneys. I think that they said they had not found any case law that says that the state would be completely conflicted from testifying. So I don't know. But I don't see how she can continue on this case. Um, I look forward to Friday to see what's going to happen, but I just don't see how it happens.
So this is a stupid question. So let's just say the judge decides they're off the case. They can't handle this anymore. This is too much.
Mhm.
We got. Can they still call her as a witness or is that taken off the
Yeah,
table? They still could.
no, you can
So
call her as a witness. Yeah,
so either way, she is likely going to
yeah,
get called in this trial as a witness. That's just mind-boggling to me.
but you also have to think about it too, right? Like, will this backfire on the defense? How will it make the prosecution look? You have to look at and who's going to be questioning her. Also, did you see how she testified? I mean, what did you think of her presence on the stand? Did she seem like she was, did she had candor before the court? Was she forthcoming or was she defensive? Like
She was, in my opinion, I mean, she had the same a similar attitude throughout the trial, just very short and
yeah,
like, like very like,
her intonation, right?
yeah,
There's,
like
it's just, I was like, oh, I thought it would be different if she was testifying, but it's the same.
no, it's the same. And she, she's, coming. She's not happy. It's
Yeah.
clear she's not happy, and she's like,
Mm-mm.
that's right, babe. Like, I mean, that's kind of how she was during the trial. Didn't you think that's how she was during the trial?
Yeah, I mean, it was really the undertone of Boutros and her not liking each other was seriously
Hmm.
like there. Like there was some cattiness between that. Like, oh, she shouldn't have called me a liar, or she's this, and
Yeah,
I
I
just thought
heard
that
that
was
part.
weird. I didn't expect that at this top professional level.
There's drama in
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. So what did you? By the way, now Melly has two new attorneys who were handling this, and I thought they were excellent. I mean, I'm not, I'm no like just from watching trials compared to when Stuart Adelson, I was not a. We call him Clutchy P, and we call him because he's always clutching his pearls. Why I never have ever like the whole. So we call him Clutchy P because he clutches his pearls all the time. He's just always like so over the top that he's never been in. I can't believe. But then again,
I always clutch my pearls.
but
oh my God.
at the same time, he probably has for some of this stuff. He had a good reason to clutch his pearls. If this stuff is going on behind the scenes, maybe he had a good reason to do that. But I thought they were great during that hearing. Even and just very like I said, like he said, based on your body language, Your Honor, I feel like you're not taking this seriously. Like, what did you think about how they handled that when they were arguing with him?
Oh, he called out the judge?
Yeah, he said, I feel like based on your body language, you're not taking... Like, he was basically, they were trying to say, this is like a whole... This isn't just Prosecutor Bradley. This is the whole thing, and we need to get this out. And he was basically... He thought the judge wasn't, like, handling it. Like,
which one said that? I think Aronson? I think it's his name. Aronson said it? Okay. Let me tell you how it works. In every jurisdiction, he may have taught the judge. You just don't know. In smaller cities, even in larger cities, just every jurisdiction is different. And prosecutors, defense attorneys, judges, everybody in the legal system, they have their relationship. They have their reputation. People know each other. People cross paths. So, and again, he may have taught the judge. His dad may have taught the judge. I think that one of them was a prosecutor before. Like he may have been a public defender in the judge's court before. Who knows? Like, but there are relationships there that you guys will never know about. So, and who knows why he took that liberty and said that to the judge. But I mean, it happens.
I mean, I guess
it's not like out of the ordinary.
I guess if you're Melly, you want him fighting like that, tooth and nail to.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of motions coming up this week. I mean, they were supposed to pick, I think on Friday, a jury, which they're now not going to do, I don't think. What do you think is going to happen this next week with these motions that are coming up?
Oh, okay. You know what? Today is October 9th. So they didn't start picking their jury today.
No,
right.
I think
they did not.
They pushed.
You made a little schedule that you tweeted.
I did. I was on the way back from my B-Master, and I think I had to pull over when I
hold on. I'll get it.
When I was tweeting that, though. I don't know.
Let's see what we got here.
It starts with like the motion to quash.
I got it. So
Tuesday.
motion to quash hearing Tuesday. Memos due by today by 5
tonight. Okay.
Motion to dismiss hearing Friday. Motion to suppress and other motions in limine start on the 16th. Approximately 4 motions a day is what you had tweeted. Like that is so much stuff.
It is, but okay. So he pushed the trial start date back.
Yes,
because I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting. So yeah. So today the state I think is supposed to file a motion. They're going to have a hearing. Oh God, what is the hearing on tomorrow? Is that the motion to dismiss?
Motion to quash hearing. Tuesday.
The subpoenas. Yes. Okay. And are the witnesses right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm tuning in for the motion to dismiss. I think from what I remember Friday, he said that Killoran's going to be there and 2 other people who are in administration. So Boutros went to Killoran. Killoran called administration. Whoever those 2 people are, I forget their names, but they're going to be there and testify. And then that's all I got.
So they're gonna.
Friday's the big motion to dismiss day.
So it's gonna be another hearing like this, where basically we're getting testimony from these people in the state's office, where like they have to like kind of say, yeah, that happened, and yeah, we didn't give it up, basically.
Yeah, because I'd want to know who's lying at this point. Even I watched a little bit of Christine Bradley's testimony. And she's saying, we had communications with other people within the office and within administration. And she was being pretty vague. And I feel like the judge, bring him here. bring them down here. You know, if you don't want to be forthcoming, let's find out what was really said. So yeah, and I expect the next hearings to be pretty long, especially the motion to dismiss. Also, they filed like 14 motions either last week or week before last, and it was a bunch of like motions to suppress. So I don't think the judge is going to dismiss the case, but I think all of this testimony and all of this, you know, the Brady violation, it's going to go toward the defense's and their motions to suppress, because a lot of the evidence was based on affidavits of probable cause from Moretti.
Shouldn't he have to testify, by the way? Why wouldn't he be a part of this?
Bring Moretti, bring Goral, bring Hendricks, bring everybody. But
and what about this? What about this? I was joking nonsense. Is anyone going to be like, yeah, yeah, oh, it's just a funny joke?
And that's the thing. Even if it was a joke, it was still said. So let the defense know. That's the argument.
Right. So I mean, all in all, it just is a massive problem for the state, right? I mean, there's just no way they're going to get out of this scot-free, right? I mean, there's going to be
no. And kudos to the attorneys, the defense attorneys, for bringing that, because a lot of younger attorneys or inexperienced attorneys would not have, not necessarily would have known to do that, or maybe not even have the courage to do that, because you're taking on the state's attorney's office. It's huge. So, and I remember reading through these motions when I first started looking through them. I was like, hey, there has to be a former prosecutor on their team, because the information that they know, the motions that they're filing, these are things that you would only know to do if you were a former prosecutor. So, and it turns out a friend of mine told me one of his new counsels is a former prosecutor. So
I mean,
it's getting interesting.
Babe, I feel like you have some, but I just want to say, so I just feel like, you know, a lot of this stuff is going on behind the scenes. And if, like you said, if this is a case with an attorney who's newer, this just happens and no one knows because they're scared to file it or they're not going to file it. And it's happening every day all over. Melly, this happens just to be a high profile case with Melly. He's got these experienced attorneys who are filing it. But for, you know, for maybe folks like myself who maybe have the wool over eyes, this stuff is happening every day, everywhere. And if you don't have the right attorneys, or if you don't have an experienced attorney, it's just never going to come out, right? I mean, that's
well, and then so you've got to also wonder how they found out about it too. So, you know, who knows who whispered in their ear that like this actually happened. But also, I think it's important, Melly's first trial, like, you know, every attorney has like their specialty, right? I think Melly's first trial, whoever his lead attorney was, he gave us a masterclass in evidentiary procedure during trial. And which was fantastic. In this case, with his new counsels, he's given us a masterclass in motion work. There's a whole thing called motions practice, and that is what they are doing. They are filing these motions, and they're good motions. And it's called like criminal procedure, civil procedure. And I remember my old professor used to say, procedure wins cases, because procedure gets your evidence in or it gets your evidence excluded. It limits what evidence can move forward and, you know, the scope of what can be admitted. So procedure, masterclass is what we're getting right now.
You know, we have Bob Mata from Defense Diaries on here all the time. And
I love Bob.
We love Bob too. And he always says, the motions hearings are the ones that should be televised. That's where the real battle is.
Yeah.
You're not this afterwards when you're seeing the trial, you're missing half the stuff. The real battle is these hearings, and that's what should be televised. And we saw one of these hearings, and it's true. Like, this is big time stuff that you don't realize once the trial has started has already been decided. So that's to your point. That's Bob talks about. We love Bob, and by the way, make sure you're following him. We'll put his following. He's getting his YouTube channel up, and obviously his Twitter as well. And make sure you're following the Black Letter on Twitter. Let's see how close you are to 1,000. Let's see how close we are.
You guys
971, folks. 971. Come on, guys. Follow, and also YouTube. She has some videos on there, and I'm sure you're gonna be posting some more on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna start posting. I think I recorded something like a while ago about why defendants don't really testify, and I was on Law and Crime this morning. I kind of talked about that, and we just talked about it when Christine Bradley was up there. Why don't defendants testify? Let's look at Christine Bradley. The only thing people were talking about were her neck movements, her head movements, the way she sounded, how she was responding. You are under such a high degree of scrutiny. That's why we don't want defendants testifying. It's just, but anyway, I'll post a short video on that. But you guys, man, this Twitter, YouTube space, it's new to me. You guys are awesome and brave. I'm easing my way into it.
Well, we're gonna help you. Us and Jabo Nation.
Thank you.
We are gonna help you. We're gonna promote you. So if you putting videos out, we're gonna get them out there. We're gonna get your Twitter out there because you deserve to be followed. You're helping us here, and we appreciate that. Giving us the information that is helping us. Like this, that hearing was really, there was so much going on. It was hard to keep track. Go ahead, babe. I know. I feel like you have something, and I've been.
I was just gonna say that what you tweeted today was this morning about the Instagram messages between YNW Bortland and Felicia Holmes.
Yes.
That was tacked on to a state's motion about witness tampering. So all this witness tampering stuff has been filed since the last trial was over, even though some of this information they already had before. So that's what I'm kind of confused about, because these Instagram messages aren't new. Didn't they already have all of Miss Holmes' Instagram messages?
Yes. So I'm not completely, like, I just got it this morning. I haven't had time to go through everything. And I know that there are these new charges. I was reading through the documents. They're long. I don't know why. Well, I'll tell you the first thing with Instagram messages, you have to authenticate them, right? So, and it's hard. I think it's hard to do that on Instagram, even more so than with a phone, because you never know who's really sending and receiving and communicating. So that's one challenge. But I don't know why they didn't have that in the new trial. It may, in the first trial. It also may not have been really relevant. From what I read, she could be talking about any situation. I think it's pretty nasty messages. But she could be talking about any situation, and she's talking about her daughter. So I think it's just like you've got relevancy issues, authentication issues, and hearsay evidence. So,
well, it's interesting you say that about because that was their whole argument. The first trial was, they're all passing they're almost like saying this is a community phone. They're all passing it around. You can't prove this is Melly, but to a certain point, I feel like. But also, the state was like, we have some intimate pictures that we don't think that members of their group sent. But with Instagram, it's separate from that. I think that was the tech. But with Instagram, the argument is you never know who's posting it. But so then I think it was towards the end, they started going with the language of how Melly would text and stuff like that. So while you can't prove for sure it was him, if he's saying the same types of phrases and words, you kind of try to prove to the jury, right, where you're basically like, come on. Do we really think that this is someone else? Right? Essentially that's what the state is trying to say, where the defense is like, no way you could prove that. State's like, come on now, look at the words. This is him.
I think they had to acquiesce at the end that this argument isn't really, going anywhere. It's pretty futile because Bradley, to her credit, was like, okay, you want to make that challenge? Let's go. And she started, pulling out message by message picture. I think she put hundreds of pictures up there, and just pictures that, people do when they just take selfies all the time, just things you do when you have the comfort of your own phone, the comfort and control, custody of your own phone. So I think that argument was kind of out of the window. And how they're going to limit it this time is the motions to suppress. And I think they have a stronger argument for the motions to suppress because I feel the judge has to give the defense something, because he's not going to dismiss this trial. Or how do they call it? They phrase it as dismiss the indictment. He's not going to do that. And I'm making that prediction. But
I'm also curious because you said you had dealt with someone, from the gang related. What did you think about the whole thing with the mask? What was your thought about that? He's got to wear the mask. And then you got a juror who's like, I don't feel comfortable with him wearing the mask. It was like such a massive thing. I'm curious what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, and I think she told the judge, you should have said something because, you have no idea what people have gone through. Like it's not normal to be in the presence of someone with a mask on, a full, what do you call it? A
A ski
baklava?
mask.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like a
it's
whole thing. It
frightening.
wasn't like a sickness mask.
Yeah, it's frightening. And I think that it was extremely prejudicial to the defense. So I did not, I would, I think the defense properly objected to it, but I didn't agree with it, but just an
Ba-
observer.
Baklava, I
Yeah.
think balaclava, or it's like the whole thing over the neck and everything. And I think I
Yeah.
saw our research guru Dizzy in the chat saying that there was a motion to suppress or to have Detective Polo, who was that testify at this trial, and because they didn't want him testifying in the first place. So I think there's some sort of motion now that where they don't want him testifying in this new trial. So that'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
if that.
They filed good motions related to the gang issue. I think they filed a motion where you can't enhance the crime because of I think Melly's alleged gang affiliation. Like I think it's proven that he has contact and communications with the gang. But is he a member of the gang? Was he going through this pledging process, so to speak? They absolutely did not prove that. And also the guy, he has no experience being on the inside. Like he's never been undercover, and I think they brought that out during the first trial. He's been to conventions, he's been to meetings, and he's taken exams.
Yeah, it was
You know,
pretty clear he was not someone who's been tenured doing that for a long time. Madeline asks if if there's a motion to not have him testify, could they get a different gang expert and bring one in?
yeah, they could get a different expert, but they'd have to notify the defense. And you guys, I know you guys say you gave Adelstein a name. I used to follow a really good friend on Pam on YouTube, and we called the undercover witness embryo because the defense attorney said, "Oh wait, you're in your embryonic stage of being an expert witness." So it's like, yeah, you've only been doing this about 2 years, sir.
All right, there we go, guys. If we have a second trial and Polo, he is no longer Detective Polo, he's Detective Embryo.
There we
Write
go.
it down. We're going to steal that. We're going to use that if it's okay with your friend. We'd love to use it. But wow, it has been 45 minutes already. I can't believe it. You just gave us so
Oh
much
wow.
information. So if you got a crystal ball, what do you think is going to happen this week? And with all these motions and what's? I mean, you already said you don't. There's no way they're dismissing it, right? This is going to be a trial. It's going to go forward.
What's a double homicide? You got to think of the victims. You got to think of just like the political implications. You got the legal implications. I don't think like when you have a Brady violation. Like, have I given? Because I was going to post this. Have I given you guys the background on the Brady case?
No, hit us with it, please, if you could.
Okay. So you got this guy, I forgot his first name, but his last name's Brady. So Brady and his associate, they were involved in a robbery and someone was murdered. They were tried separately. Brady, did his thing. His lawyer did his thing in the trial. The other gentleman, he confessed and he said he's the one who, committed the murder. But the state never turned this information over to the defense. That's exculpatory evidence. That's egregious. And that's where we got the case law for Brady. So, yeah, I forgot where I was going after that.
That's okay.
But oh yeah, I was talking about like that's egregious, right? That's something that could have exonerated him, or that's something that could have just I guess weighed on whether he's guilty or innocent of murder. Moretti lying, I don't think it's bad. It's material evidence, but is it so grave? Did it prejudice him so much? And I think that the judge is going to say no, he wasn't seriously prejudiced, or maybe he will say he was, but just not to the point where he's going to grant a dismissal.
Well,
That's where I am with that.
another thing that I forgot to bring up. We had Ali Mata on, Bob's wife. We had her on when the motion was
Yeah.
when the hearing was going on. And one thing that she brought up why this is such a huge deal is if the judge, grants that this is a major, an issue, that any case that Moretti was on in the past, if he grants that this was a problem, can get overturned, right? Like this is a massive, massive thing that could affect so many other cases that Moretti was involved in, right?
I'm sure it will. A friend of mine sent me a case, oh my God, where Moretti was involved, and it just described police brutality. It was really sad. He's very in the case. It described him as just having very aggressive tactics. But I think just even now, I would be looking through all of his cases and seeing what I can come up with, what I can pull.
That is, I mean, I'm sure if you were someone who was convicted and Detective Moretti was a key witness, you are if you're in jail right now or in prison, you're calling hey, can we look into this because it looks like some shenanigans are afoot. So let's just like when we saw that when Monday that or Friday that hearing happened, I don't even think we realized how many the ramifications of that entire hearing throughout the state and other cases, right? I mean, just I don't know. Baby
And
got
it's
it?
not even.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go
No, 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 no.
ahead.
Go.
No, I'm just thinking he's the lead detective, so he's got his hand in a lot, a good bit of investigations that have gone down. So, there's a lot to parse through.
I mean, I guess a little off topic. I don't. Did you have anything, babe?
Oh, I was just going to add, well, you can go ahead and ask your off topic if you want, but I was
Well,
just going to ask
go ahead.
about, for me to go?
Yeah.
I was just going to ask about, will they call, do you think that the state will call Felicia
Mhm.
Holmes again?
Yeah, without
And they'll
question.
just treat her as a hostile witness again if she,
Yeah, but I think we'll see in the coming days if her testimony will be narrowed because of the motions to suppress or the motions in limine. That's going to
got,
be key to watch out for. But yeah,
okay.
she'll be up there. That's one of the best witnesses that they have because if you remember during trial one, which I didn't care for, in their closing arguments, Christine Bradley kind of introduced some things that Holmes didn't testify to while she was on the stand, but she kind of introduced some things related to her daughter and,
Mhm.
her daughter receiving a call and Melly being bloody. I remember that in the closing arguments, and I was like, wait a second, I don't remember her testifying to that. But yeah.
To me, in the first trial, in my opinion, the most damning evidence was which I think they saved to the end, which was smart in my opinion, was the reconstructionist basically who shows there's only way basically based on the blood spatter inside the car and based on the trajectory of the bullets. And to me, that was where I was like, this is really bad. Like there's, they basically essentially said there's no way. The only person that could have done this is the person that's sitting in the seat that Melly was in when he left the studio. And the only way that so to me, if they can get that in, but even if they can get that in with all this other stuff going on, I don't know how they get a guilty. I don't know. I mean, just with there's so much going on. How as an attorney do you try to focus on the important stuff? I mean, it's just blowing my mind that Bradley's going to have to testify. I just don't. How can you get past that? I just don't. I don't understand.
Wait, who's going to have to testify?
Prosecutor Bradley.
Oh,
How
will
can you get past
she?
that?
Will she, or is this just pressure? Um,
I mean, the
I
defense is
don't
going to
know.
call her, right? I mean, no matter what.
They say they will. They say they will. They
You
they
don't
say they
think they
will.
would? You think they
And
would
they try.
pass on it?
It may work out such that they don't need to call her. I don't know what their tactics are. I don't know what the strategy is. But if I can get back to the evidence, for me, the most damning bit of evidence is I will agree the situation where there's kind of like an outline of the body in the back seat, right, and like where the blood spatter went. Um, like what body was there? Like I'd like an answer for that. The drive-by situation, I think, the guy testified that, oh, when a bullet is coming from a car in a drive-by, there's like there's a spiral. I dismiss that because, again, we're so used to what we see on TV, like people, driving by, and, you can easily drive next to a car, shoot in a stationary position, and then leave. You can drive next to a car, your people can get out, shoot up, get in the car, and leave. There's so many different ways it can happen. So I don't really put much weight on that part of the evidence, but it's just the outline of the body. You see the blood doesn't touch the body. I need to know who was sitting there.
Right.
Well, this has been absolutely amazing. We can't thank you enough for coming on here and sharing your inside
My
information.
pleasure.
Like, it really, I think, helped folks. I could see in the chat that folks were like, don't leave. So hopefully maybe...
I can't see the chat, guys. I don't know how to work this. So I can't see the chat or anything. I love saying hey to people. So, hey, guys.
We are going to help you. We are going to do whatever we can to help you with this. So don't you worry.
Thank you.
Follow on YouTube. Follow on Twitter. Anything else you want? Oh, actually, let me get your website up for
Blue Door Organics.
Yes.
Let me get that in here.
It's in the bio of the YouTube video, babe.
Well, I'm going to put it in the chat right now. So
I know.
why don't you tell us about it a little bit? What's Blue Door Organics?
So I do premium body butters. One of our best sellers is Cocoquette, and it's a blend of just these beautiful oils and Nilotica. So we've all heard of shea butter. Nilotica is a form of shea butter, but it's Ugandan shea butter. It's cold pressed, it's never heated. It's beautiful. It absorbs beautifully. It's healing. It adds elasticity to the skin. I always say a little goes a very long way. What I want to do is kind of like move more into natural healing and just focusing more on what we put in our body, which is why I'm going to start offering the honey. And I'm working with a wonderful, wonderful family farm, and they have just beautiful olive oil. So we've got a lot of things coming, especially in the fall, winter season when, I just get even more creative, I guess. And let me tell you, I never thought that it was okay to have a creative side as an attorney. I always thought, I have to be just very serious, very conservative, very focused. But I love my creativity and embracing that.
Miss Brady puts, "Ooh, I love body butter. Where can we buy?" I just put the link in there.
It's on there. There's a shop right on her website.
Blue Door Organics. Check it out. And like I said, you're doing a lot of stuff, so I hope we can have you on for a Creator Who Crushed interview, and we can go over all of it. And also, maybe during this trial, if we have some times, you can come on with us and kind of break it down for the folks, because there's a lot going on in this trial.
Yeah, I'd love to. It's fantastic. It's just, again, this one is a masterclass in procedure, and I think it's going to be very interesting. So I'd be happy to come back. You guys rock.
You rock, babe. Got anything else?
No, I don't think so. I just am really excited to keep following you and seeing, what you say next.
Are you going to, sorry, babe, I was just going to say, are you going to live tweet? Like, do you think you're going to tweet like the hearings and the trial if it goes forward?
Yeah, totally. And I like mine to be, my platform to be just very educational. So I like to just, post resources and to define what things are, because I don't like it when people are like just talking over your head and using acronyms and, using, professional jargon and just expect people to know. I'm like, hey, let me break it down for you. So
there you go. That's what you shouldn't even know you're going to say this. And Sarah, aspiring court reporter, says, I need someone to explain this trial to me every day, like I'm 5. So we're going to learn a lot, folks.
Awesome.
So make sure you're following the Twitter. The links have been in there. And like I said, Afi, welcome to J-Bo Nation. You got some of the kindest people on the webs. They're going to follow you. They're going to retweet you. They're going to, share, because we appreciate you coming on with us very much. And I think that's it. So
I was just going to say that we are so lucky because I feel like we've had the 2 best authorities on this case on our show, because we've had you and we had Bryson Boom Paul on. And I love how you've worked in conjunction with each other. You're both so reliable. So just thank you for that. I'm sorry, my dog is barking.
Bryson is awesome. He texts me all the time, and he's like, have you seen this? And I'm like, dude, this is a lot. How do you know all of this? How do you have all of this?
All of it.
Yeah, he knows everything. He's the whisperer. He knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had the 2 whisperers on, so we're excited about that. And all right, so that's it, folks. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tonight. 7 Eastern, Kerry Rawson, folks. This should take you in the portal to that stream, 7 Eastern. So bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining us, J-Bo Nation. Please give all of yourselves an ovation. No, it won't be real long until next time. Oh, J-Bo Nation, there's no place we'd rather be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to